Hey everyone, Creepy here. So today we're going to be doing a follow-up video to my Illuminati video. We're going to be responding to her response, and just so you guys know, I'm not going to cover the whole 40-minute video, obviously. I will just be covering what is related to the whole plagiarism drama.
Now, before we get into debunking many false statements that have been made about me, I want to start with an apology. I have apologized privately to Legal Eagle the day after this incident occurred, though I have not been publicizing that until right now. Maybe this is something I should have said sooner, but I needed the time to think through the events that have preceded.
I would like to believe that she made this apology in good faith, but I kind of find it hard to do that because of the whole fact that she's not being completely honest about the situation, and you will see that when she goes into what she says the situation was.
And for those unaware, a short story. My editors came to me about how parts of a Legal Eagle video looked similar to our videos. And then there were messages and an email from one of Legal Eagle's editors asking for more information about how we do certain effects. I looked at the compared images that were brought to me and I said, wow, that does look pretty similar, and I impulsively posted about it on Twitter. Truthfully, I should have looked into this more instead of just putting the information out there the second I had a gut reaction about it. I should have asked him what the emails were about, but I didn't, and I made a mistake, and plain and simple, I was wrong. So to Legal Eagle and team, I just want to reiterate that I messed up, and I'm sorry for any stress this may have caused you and of course to your team. I know I apologized privately and removed the tweets with that apology, and I'm now publicly sharing that information with all of you.
I honestly don't know how she could have not looked into the situation if she brought up two different examples of quote-unquote plagiarism. You would have had to know about some of the context if you were to know those were quote-unquote plagiarism. I don't really understand why she's trying to take none of the blame, but at the same time trying to take the blame. She's kind of like both taking the blame and also not taking the blame. It's kind of confusing the way she's making this whole argument. Like, she's acknowledging that it's her fault, but at the same time she's saying how it was very impulsive and like she didn't look into it, but like how did she get those two screenshots of different quote-unquote plagiarism instances? Also, if you were going to do this, you really should not be doing this to a lawyer of all people.
And I want to extend that apology to my audience and to listeners who are disappointed in me for this, because I'm also disappointed in myself. It was a quick-drawn decision and it wasn't thought out. I promise to do better. Now, as we continue in this video, I do want to give you a heads up that there will be trigger warnings for various sections as needed. I also want to go ahead and let you know that I will be providing a public Google Drive containing any and all relevant information that I will address in this video, similar to how I provide a source document for every episode of mine. Let's start with the first accusation and go from there. After Legal Eagle responded in his tweets, there was another tweet that arose in tandem to this situation. And that tweet was made by another YouTuber called HBomberGuy.
Side note, you all should watch HBomberGuy. He makes very good content.
And this YouTuber is someone who also creates longer form content. As someone who creates this type of content and researches various topics, the main thing to keep in mind is the source material used. Things like articles, interviews, videos, documentaries, academic essays, and so on and so forth. As video essayists, this is a core concept to both Harris and myself. Before I get into the accusation itself, I want to address the topic of plagiarism. And that word has been tossed around a ton, and it's not something to be taken lightly. And I just want to take a minute to define this word. On screen are definitions for the word plagiarism as defined by Merriam-Webster, Dictionary.com, and the University of Oxford. I'm showing multiple sources defining plagiarism, but the overall definition is going to boil down to this. Plagiarism is to take someone else's idea as their own or to not credit the source.
That first type of plagiarism is what she tried to accuse Legal Eagle of, falsely of course, even though Legal Eagle actually used that type of editing way before her. And the second type is what she's being accused of. Now keep that in mind because it's important to know because she does not really credit the people correctly within the video.
With that definition being clearly identified, let's go ahead and take a look at what Harris brought to the Twitter table. Harris posted this video saying, and I quote, "Personally, at iiLLUMINAUGHTii, I would define plagiarism as something a bit more specific. For example, copying someone else's documentary directly into your script." End quote. However, in his own video, he shows where I'm audibly quoting a direct line from the documentary, and even visually you can see it on the screen with the quotation marks. Additionally, you can even see the dual ellipses on either end of that quote, indicating that more of that source was being cited.
Do you see a problem with that screenshot? Well, the screenshot, one is a screenshot, it's not showing the video, was kind of sus. Also, when she's quoting the person, she has way more than what is shown in the screenshot. And also, literally, that is saying that it's quoted from the lawsuit, which she didn't quote it from. She quoted it from a documentary about the lawsuit, / the anti-vax movement in general. Later, she's going to state that she credited correctly within the description, and even if that is true, she miscredited it within the video itself. So by the definition she showed earlier, she would have plagiarized. This is what I was talking about when I said couldn't really trust her apology because she was being dishonest. And this is literally what I was talking about. It was her being dishonest about the screenshot she showed.
When you go to my sourcing page for this particular episode, you can also see that the documentary is listed as a source. It has been 3 years since I posted this episode, and I've been really grateful to be able to continually learn and grow with time. Since then, I've learned to be much more overt and obvious with citations, something that may not have been perfectly clear to me 3 years ago.
That's perfectly fine, but you still messed up with the sourcing there. Also, HBO guy was just trying to point out hypocrisy because you were calling out someone falsely for plagiarizing, while in the past, by your own very definition, you were in fact plagiarizing. Personally, it kind of looks like she's trying to put blame off into her editors instead of just taking responsibility for the whole legal eagle thing. That was totally her fault because she misunderstood the screenshot she was given, and then she called out a lawyer, which is stupid, and she was immediately shut down. Really, she still just apologized instead of trying to make some excuses. I would have been fine with an apology, but then she covered the H-bomber stuff, and that kind of made her look dishonest, especially when she misrepresented the screenshot. Anyway, that's all I want to respond to. If you enjoyed watching this video, please consider liking and subscribing. Creeper out.
Socialism is when the government does stuff. And it's more socialism the more stuff it does. And if it does a real lot of stuff, it's communism.